To me, it's ridiculous what they're dragging you in for. Hey, you know what? Why don't you tell people who don't even know who you are and what the hell we're talking about? Why don't you tell them what the hell is this about? I just realized that a lot of people don't even know who the hell you are, what this is about.
I run a business that does have federal oversight. We fix aircraft, so I am certificated under that arrangement. And if I was to get a felony conviction of any sort, my lifetime of work and all the stuff that I do, strangely enough, a quarter of all my business is law enforcement business and good law enforcement people. If I was to get a felony conviction, that would all be over with. And when they dragged me in to try and browbeat me with a plea, they told me I would have to go to jail and I would have to take at least one felony, possibly more.
Hey, did they give that to you in writing?
No, they would not do that.
All right. I'll say. Go ahead with the story. Sorry about that. I was just hoping.
But you know, I had a great thought when I was in the courthouse today. I got to share this one with you quick. One of the guys, the guy who went to the school to drag Ian out of class, is one of the guys I want to file on next week. And he is the spearhead of the, quote, investigation. Mm-hmm. And if he ends up in the court and I question him on the stand and I ask him in front of the judge and jury, do you recall this meeting on the 17th of September? Because his out is going to be to say that his boss told him to do it, right? Well, his boss that told him to do it is going to disclose that it was done in this meeting on the 17th of September.
Wow.
So when he testifies in a court of record that his boss told him to do it, and this is why he told him to do it, then I've got all the evidence I need to go after the big one.
Right.
So that's what I thought about him. We need to file on him pretty quick, too. But
well, like I said, I think the one that's just like I say, you like I said, you're gonna. I know you want to just file the crap out of everybody and everything. Believe me, it's like me. Okay, I go after the director. Okay, it's like the way I look at it is like a movie director. I'm going after the director. Like say my kid was Miley Ray Cyrus and not Billy Ray Cyrus, and this director won't return my kid. Or this Miley Ray Cyrus, my kid got hurt while she was making this movie. So obviously I'm going to sue the director. But then I'm going to say, wait a second, I sue the director, but the director is just a salaried studio employee. That's not worth a lot. I'm going to go after the executive producer as well, the guy who's got the money, the guy who puts up the money. Who is the person who puts up the money? It's like, oh, it'd be the governor. The man is acting as the governor. It's like, oh, okay. They're the ones that would actually have, that's what I'm going after, the director and the producer. So like I said, I know you want to go after everybody. But to me, your case is a little bit different. This is basically just, I should let you finish up. This had to do with modifiers.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you're not trying to say that all of mankind has the right to carry a gun. Yours isn't like one of these cases like what I'm trying to do is like, is that my property or is that the government's property? So you don't have one of these cases that has to be, determined, for all of mankind to have peace of mind. This is for you to have peace of mind.
Yeah.
The part of me thinks is if you go after one of these people that did you wrong, Frank or Ben, and you shake them enough, they'll stop. They'll work with you. They'll figure something out. They'll stop. I don't think you have to go after the whole enchilada. I don't think you have to go after everybody. I don't think you have to go all the way to the Department of Justice. I don't think you have to go after Eric Holder. I don't think you have to go all the way.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. Try to master what you're doing now with Frank or Ben. Don't try to get too many things, juggling too many things in the air. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be very discombobulated. You're going to drive yourself nuts.
I got notification. You remember we wrote that nice little pretty letter to Ben's attorney. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I got the notification today that he didn't get delivery until the 5th of January. He should have got it on the 29th, but that's fine.
All right.
But, that letter was a sweetheart letter.
Oh, yeah.
I laugh when I read it because we have told his attorney more about what his client has done and is doing than what his client has told him, just in about 4 lines.
Right. Well, like I said, it's funny. I mean, I have no idea. It's like I'm almost doing like a stand-up comedy routine or something when I write letters. You know, it's a lot of fun. You know, when you really get into the game,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's almost like I said with the other guy. It's like, you know, apologize for putting his face in front of the policeman's fist and hurting the poor policeman's hand. You know, when he was, you know, throwing punches in the air, my face actually got in his way. You know, it was ridiculous. So my boot, you know, I'm sorry your boots got scuffed while I was stomping on my head. You know, how could, you know, can you give me the, you know, the bill for the shoe pair, man, you know, for polishing up your boots again. I'm sorry my head got in the way of your boot while he was stomping me on the ground. You know, so can you imagine the other side reading this?
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't accuse him of performing legal services.
No, that's right. We stopped. Right.
We stopped just shy of that. But
right. When he asks, what the hell is this guy going on about? And then the client tells him, it's like, you did not do that. Yeah. What was he talking about? This failed to perform a service. Well, can you expand a little bit on what? You know, it's kind of vague. You know, I'm getting a letter from this man here, and you know, so let his client tell him
what he's doing.
Right. Oh yeah. Let it pop out of this guy's own freaking mouth.
When he opens his mouth and he tries to get out of that one, and then our next letter to him is going to be the trust agreement. His attorney's going to go take a crap for him, I think.
Oh yeah, but let's finish what you do for a living. You know, because you know I cut you off. And what this is all about?
Okay, I fix aircraft and I inspect them, and I do NDT work. A quarter of the business, strangely enough, is supporting law enforcement agencies. The run-of-the-mill, the ordinary everyday guys who are just trying to keep the peace, shall we say. You know, they're not bad guys. Nearly, I think 99% of everybody I've met in law enforcement has been a stand-up man in this. And strangely enough, one man, I was out on a job, he asked me why I'd been unable to take care of an issue that they had on one of the helicopters. And I said, look, I've got a legal problem going on that I really don't care to have or talk about. And he said, give me an inclination. And he actually gave me some very good advice. But
what was the advice he gave you?
Well, he said,
Google call on YouTube?
No. His first words were, he said, I don't know you and I don't know what happened. He said, but I'll tell you how the system works in this arena. He said, a guy gets into trouble. He said they pull him in. They tell him that he's going to go to jail for 12 months or whatever they choose. He said, and then they go and tell him that he's got to produce 3, 4, or 5 more felons like him in order to get him off the hook and reinstate his life the way it used to be.
Right, you're saying that. I guess let's try to help you to say this. There's like the guy gets arrested for say selling drugs. Say somebody gets arrested for selling drugs or whatever, and then the cops will say you got to snitch. You got to help find other people who sold you those drugs, or so we'll limit your sentence. We'll give you some credit for time served. If you help us do our job, we'll help you get out of this situation that you got yourself into. Instead of telling, like we were told, cops in New York, go suck an egg. These guys are like, oh my God, okay, I'll do it. They sell their soul.
Yeah. Instead
of just doing right, they'll try to pin their friends and their confidants and their people that trust them. They'll try to turn snitch.
Well,
and so somebody's tried to turn snitch with you, but I mean, you don't have to explain the whole entire detail. But like the officer told you, this man was told to help. He
was told to get this man off the hook. He had to get 5 felons, and he had to get them into the courtroom. And however it took it, whether they were good or bad men, he had to entrap them or do whatever he had to do to get them in there.
Right.
And he'd worked. I gave him a job. He came from a trusted resource. I gave him a job washing helicopters, getting stuff ready for when we were going to repair them. And about 2 or 3 months into this, he begged me for a job up in the office, and that was where I made my big mistake. I let him up here.
Well, you said you did some sort of background check on him, and when you tried to get into the military base, like I used to work at all the time, we always get background check.
Well,
and you said he did not pass his background check.
Correct. We were supposed to I want to say it was probably, I don't have the exact date, but beginning of May, we were supposed to go down to a base in Milton, Florida. So I had him fill out his paperwork, and we submitted it down there, and because I didn't know who would be available to help me on this particular job on this particular day, what I did was we submitted 4 names down there, and myself was one of them. And all 3 other names came back really quickly as approved. And I had to call down because the other 2 people were not available. And I said, look, this one man, I said, is he not approved, or did I just miss it on the email? And the lady in charge down there said, no, that application's on Mr. So-and-so's desk. He has to look at any application that is unusual. I said, oh.
Wow.
I said, can you define unusual? She said, I'm not at liberty to disclose that. She
Right.
said that it needs his signature to override whatever it is that stops his application in the system.
Did you ever ask the man?
Well,
ask him? You
I
did ask him?
I did ask him, and I said, look, I said, I can't take you to Milton, Florida. I said, you want to tell me what's going on? He said, I got in some trouble about 3 years ago.
Wow. What did he say he got in trouble for? He just stopped at that point.
He kind of stopped, and I said, how much trouble did you get into? And he said, well, if my record's expunged, there shouldn't be an issue about me going to Milton, Florida for sure.
Okay.
And I said, you do understand that you never told me this on the front end. And he said,
Right.
I understand that. He said, but there shouldn't be an issue. He said, if you were to call up the local PD or run a background check through Verify or one of those things, it'll come back clean.
And did you do that or not?
I ran E-Verify, but that's about as much use as a fart in the wind.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what E-Verify is, so.
Yeah, I mean, that just says you can fog a spoon if you can find somebody on it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's just that's the biggest waste of time, because if you're quote an illegal alien, it'll probably flag you as future president or something.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I mean, he didn't get into much detail, but he just said that he had been in trouble, but his record was expunged, and being that it was expunged, there shouldn't be any issues.
Okay.
And what I didn't know, I find out later, is he was a confidential informant. He was trying to entrap people, whether they worked for me, whether it was my son. He went on to go after me later, but his whole job in life was to entrap 5 felons. That was his purpose in life, was to get 5 good men or women into trouble.
Right. Which is right. Well, whether they were good or bad, he didn't care. He just needed 5.
Yeah.
He just needed 5 anybody. Whether they were good or bad, he didn't care.
Correct.
Yeah.
No conscience, no feelings, no nothing.
Right.
Just animal.
Right. Well, self-preservation. Yeah, self-preservation. That's a great motivator in world, man. Is self-preservation.